morning, friends. How are we doing today? Some English breakfast for you. Well, thanks for telling me. I was supposed to go in to work today, but my stomach started cramping and acting up again, and I've got this, the arthritis and issues with my neck, and another nerve got pinched, and so there was just pain radiating all through there and down my arm. And so these are those compression sleeves for my wrist. I was writing, and it helps with the repetitive motion. I don't quite have full-on carpal tunnel yet, but definitely moving in that direction, unfortunately. Anyway, whether you're feeling great or terrible, please remember at some point today to get up, to stretch a little bit, to drink some water, take your meds if that applies to you. Eat something if you can, and I hope that you remember that you are loved, you matter. I'm so glad you're here with me. And I hope that you have a good day, or do what you need to do to survive the day. Cheers. I haven't read a story to you guys in a long time, so I'm going to read to you a short story from Lafcadio Hearn's book of Ghosts and Goblins. I got this from the library the other day. Hopefully you saw that video. And this story is called The Dream of a Summer Day. There's actually a series of short stories in this chapter, but I'm going to read one that I liked. Long, long ago, there lived somewhere among the mountains a poor woodcutter and his wife. They were very old and had no children. Every day the husband went alone to the forest to cut wood, while the wife sat weaving at home. One day the old man went farther into the forest than was his custom, to seek a certain kind of wood, and he suddenly found himself at the edge of a little spring he had never seen before. The water was strangely clear and cold, and he was thirsty, for the day was hot, and he had been working hard. So he doffed his great straw hat, knelt down, and took a long drink. That water seemed to refresh him in a most extraordinary way. Then he caught sight of his own face in the spring, and started back. It was certainly his own face, but not at all as he was accustomed to see it in the old mirror at home. It was the face of a very young man. He could not believe his eyes. He put up both hands to his head, which had been quite bald only a moment before. It was covered with thick black hair, and his face had become smooth as a boy's. Every wrinkle was gone. At the same moment he discovered himself full of new strength. He stared in astonishment at the limbs that had been so long withered by age. They were now shapely and hard with dense young muscle. Unknowingly, he had drunk at the fountain of youth, and that draught had transformed him. First he leapt high and shouted for joy. Then he ran home faster than he had ever run before in his life. When he entered his house, his wife was frightened, because she took him for a stranger, and when he told her the wonder, she could not at once believe him. But after a long time he was able to convince her that the young man she now saw before her was really her husband, and he told her where the spring was, and asked her to go there with him. Then she said, "You have become so handsome and so young that you cannot continue to love an old woman, so I must drink some of that water immediately. But it will never do for both of us to be away from the house at the same time. Do you wait here while I go." And she ran to the woods all by herself. She found the spring and knelt down and began to drink. Oh, how cool and sweet that water was! She drank and drank and drank, and stopped for breath only to begin again. Her husband waited for her impatiently. He expected to see her come back changed into a pretty slender girl. But she did not come back at all. He got anxious, shut up the house, and went to look for her. When he reached the spring, he could not see her. He was just on the point of returning when he heard a little wail in the high grass near the spring. He searched there and discovered his wife's clothes and a baby. A very small baby, perhaps 6 months old. for the old woman had drunk too deeply of the magical water. She had drunk herself far back beyond the time of youth, into the period of speechless infancy. He took up the child in his arms. It looked at him in a sad, wondering way. He carried it home, murmuring to it, thinking strange, melancholy thoughts. I guess there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. All the same, I like little stories like that. Anyway. Alright, friends, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Good grief. Oh, my tea is spilled everywhere. Nah. Alright. I'm gonna go clean up my mess. And I will talk to you all later. For now, it is time for your next adventure. I'll miss you. Oh, making a mess.